Hello everyone and welcome to the Cheerwine 500 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here we are for the penultimate race of the Sundrop Cup Series season. A lone weekend for the SDCS. They have their final lone weekend of the season while the Truck and Mountain Dew Custom Series drivers get to take their time and take a break before they head to Kansas in 1 week's time. The fans are ready to see that Kansas event, but we got one more race to decide who will be fighting for the spots for the championship next week at Kansas. Tib Foster on pole, sits 37 points back, lost a little bit of time to Onjack, but is still in the title fight. He needs to run well and finish pretty well ahead of Onjack to maintain that though. But another driver, Brady Burkhardt, who blew a motor at Iowa, got crashed out, and that cost him almost 30 points. He sits 61 points back. To have a shot at Kansas, we would say you got to be within 42 points, 41 points, because that's from the 42 max that you can get to the minimum that you can get. However, it depends on the amount of cars that are entered in Kansas. Since the Cup Series inaugural season does not have always 40 cars each week, that could mean some valuable points are knocked off the table. Now, I'm pretty sure in this standings, about 36th on back all get 1 point. But we have 33 in this race. We had 33 in the last few races. The chase races haven't been really populated outside of Talladega. So we got some opportunities for these drivers that could be sitting here thinking, I got to be within maybe 20, 30 points of the points leader to still have a mathematical shot. One driver who doesn't care about the points right now is just ready to run and try to win is Carson Bowers, who has led over 100 laps this season, one of the big six in this season that have led the most laps, all over 100 laps. And Bowers is the only one not in the chase and not in the top 5 in the point standings. Carson in this 25, he rolls off third, looking for his first win on the season. Carter Friesen out of the title hunt. Same with Dusty Neal. There's Jacob Edson, though, in 5th. DJ Curtis, 6th. Give a shout out here to John Dilks, putting the Johnson Performance 51 in 8th today. Fantastic opportunity for John Dilks to possibly run up front, but who knows how long it'll be with an unsponsored 51 car. Stephen Wallace Jr. went from 35th to 2nd, or to 3rd, I should say, at Iowa. A great run there for that team. Zachary DeLello trying to finish off this season strong before he heads to Monster Motorsports next season. Diego Yepes crashed out after he took out Matthew Eves at Iowa, trying to get by him. He's 56 points back. As we enter this race, Morris, Jefferson, who sit in this event 14th and 15th in the starting order. Jefferson's 13 back, Morris 17 back. If they stay near or ahead of Onjack, they will be the two fighting him the most for the championship. Onjack, however, is all the way back here in 32nd. A horrible qualifying run for both him and Austin Murray sets these two chase contenders on the back foot. Murray out of the championship fight, but Onjack's your points leader. He's trying to hang on to everything he got. And a shout out to Max Anderson. Somehow got Tony Zhang Motorsports back onto the track, an unsponsored 75, but they will be taking to the track here with Max Anderson in the 75 car. But as we said, we'll go over the point standings as they roll around for their pace lap. We're ready for the Cheerwine 500 at Charlotte. Let's go ahead down trackside for the commands to fire the engines at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines!
With that, the engines are fired here. We're rolling off for 80 laps at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Cheerwine 500. 33 of the best Cup drivers in the field today, ready to go at it for these 80 laps. It's going to be a long race here in front of us, just like all the Cup races are, so strategy is key. Pit window, 30 laps, means you're pitting at about a 30-30 and final 20 stint run of this race. Now, if cautions come out, that could change everything. If you do indeed pit after lap 50, you're good to go till the end of the race. However, of course, the Cup Series has green-white checkered finishes. We'll see. Charlotte has been really crash-heavy in the past few years. A lot of big hits and a lot of scary hits. We're hoping that today maybe these Cup cars will be able to run cleanly here at Charlotte. Tib Foster, Brady Burkhardt on the front row. Carson Bowers, Carter Friesen, row 2. Jacob Edson, DJ Curtis, Dusty Neal, John Dilks, Ryan Butcher, and in 10th, Stephen Wallace Jr. We are ready to go racing here at Charlotte, Tip Foster in front, Brady Burkhardt second. 2 championship contenders, 2 of them fighting for their lives this season to stay in the championship fight after Charlotte. One of these guys just has to do better than one person. The other has to do way better than at least one person. Coming down the front straightaway, Anjado leads him to green, and it's Tip Foster with the jump. Green flag's in the air, and we are racing at the Cheerwine 500. Burkhardt dropping like a rock already as now Bowers and Edson both clear him. The outside line can work sometimes here at Charlotte. It can definitely defend, but Burkhardt really slow on the top. It looks like it hasn't even come in yet. Is now freezing. Had to check up a little bit to not run it off the corner into the wall. Burkhardt now, he will be clear into that 4th position. So lap 1 in the books as Carson Bowers now looks for a spot on his teammate Tip Foster. Looking for that race lead early. We'll see if we could get one of those underdog victories here. Edson, Bowers, Curtis, Butcher, they're not even considered underdogs. They're considered some of the best in the business, but this season they have been. It's just been those like 4 or 5 drivers. The only drivers with multiple wins outside of Matty Porta, who has had a horrible chase, are the top 6 in points. Onjak, Jefferson, Morris, Foster, Yepes, and Burkhardt. So right now you're seeing some of the underdogs fighting up there. Bowers winless this year, but most laps led out of drivers who have not had a win this year. Over, I think it's about 140 laps led this season for the 25. He's ahead of Tip Foster in that metric, and Tip has 2 wins. Tip has 3 wins, I should say. Bowers has none. Edson clear back into second as Foster takes the lead again. Now Burkhardt all over the back of that 82, fighting with his teammate now as the 99 of Burkhardt looking for that second spot. He needs to gain as many points as he can on the 44 of Onjak. But right now Onjak already up to 29th, Murray in 30th. They're both charging through the field. Murray's chances at the chase, though, pretty much dashed. And there is the number 75 Tony Zhang Motorsports car. Yeah, doing just about as good as we thought Tony Zhang Motorsports would do. They're unsponsored. No idea if they're going to be returning next season. Most likely not, especially if they can't even get sponsorship to finish this season off. Looking for 3 wide back here. Dusty Neal in the 94 getting aggressive. He needs to be aggressive. Well, he doesn't need to be aggressive. He's out of the championship fight. Same with Carter Friesen. Those two do not have enough points to be able to gain it back in 2 races. So these two are just running for their spots. Yepes running to try to make the final run into Kansas, though. Yepes enters this race 56 back. He's the closest one that entered this race outside of that about 40-point cushion that would be a 1 race gap. So Yepes right now has to run very well, has to finish about 15 spots ahead of Onjak. And all we're saying here is to make it easier on the fans for the calculations at home, if Peter Onjak finishes inside the top 15, there's really nothing Yepes, Burkhardt, Goforth, or Hagen could do to make it back into the chase at that point, outside of winning the race in absolutely dominant fashion, getting those 42 bonus points, and Onjak not getting anything. So if you see Peter in the top 10 this race, it's probably going to be a 4-horse race. However, the other point is Tip Foster entered this 37 points back as he's right now fighting Burkhardt, meaning even still with this, because Kansas doesn't have a big entry list currently, that 40 team could be out of the points if they don't finish ahead of Onjak. So if Tib does not finish ahead of Peter in points in this race, he probably will also not have a chance at the title heading into Kansas. So Tib has to run as strong as he can, and he's right now out in front doing so. Dusty Neal going to get into third, though. That's Tibbs' driver in that South Point number 94, as he'll take that spot away as Bowers now drops back on the outside. Yepes now, a big loss by Bowers cutting off the corner. He got real tight. Yepes is going to clear himself into 4th as Bowers drops to the 5th position. Look at Butcher right now trying to defend over the 55 of Morris. That's his driver on the inside. And you see that outside line, it's kind of working. Butcher's able to defend pretty well, not losing too much time. You just can't overshoot the outside. It's a very tricky groove to hit. And you see Butcher just a little slow through there, and he's going to lose that time there as Morris is going to get by him. Butcher tries with a big run coming off of the corner, though. Might be able to see that as now Neal is into second. Foster drops to the 3rd spot, and Burkhardt in the 99 is going to clear as Bowers sends it into Yepes. A little bit of contact between those two. Diego's going to fight back on the outside now with a big run off the corner. Going to have Friesen following him, and Yepes will clear Bowers down the front straightaway, so that outside line can definitely work here at Charlotte. It just depends on how strong of a run that inside line can get. Top 3 right now under a blanket. 3 chase contenders now with 4 Yepes, then Friesen and Morris just behind Bowers, so we got a chase grid up in front. Burkhart right now, though, in that race lead over Neal and Foster as they converge back together coming down the front straightaway. We'll see if the Dodges have any momentum for that Toyota, and Neal's going to go to the bottom. Foster was going to go with him. Now he definitely will go with him, just trying to run maybe the middle line now, but he's going to push Neal through the corner. Burkhart with a run coming through it as he walks it up just a little high. Now Neal's going to have the run coming off as Bowers is in the outside wall. That 25 car not handling well in turns 1 and 2, it seems, as he's lost a lot of time and now hit the wall there. Top 4 under a blanket as Burkhart drops back on the top. Neal and Foster going to get out to the front, and Dusty Neal's going to lead his first lap in a while. I think, I don't believe he led one at Talladega. And I know definitely not at Iowa, but Neal now out in front in that South Point Casino number 94. Neal hoping for a good run today just to not DNF. He had 2 engine failures at Talladega and Iowa, both pretty early on in the event, and that basically took him out of the championship hunt. Max Anderson has gotten into the wall there, and Austin Murray's a bit slow, and it looks like the 95 of Austin Johnson's a bit slow, so we might have missed something there. Some damage to those guys. There is Vince Freeze. We completely skipped that as well. DJ Gibson with some right side damage. No caution, so it looks like no one went around. And look at Onjak, already 17th in that 44 car. He's charging through the field. Must not have been a good quali setup, but sure as heck is a good race setup. Up front now, Yepes going after Foster as Burkhart falls back. Now we'll see if Tibb can use that outside line to his advantage. The Dodges have really been pretty quick today. We've got a lot of them up front. Bowers, though, is dropping back. Onjak's gaining through. Jefferson's even climbing up. Jay started this race 14th. I believe he's inside the top 10 right now, and that he is in 10th as John Dilks is 12th. There's Goforth. But there's Onjak still climbing through the field, and Jay does not want to see Onjak ahead of him. He wants to see him in his mirror. Well, he doesn't even want to see him in his mirror. He wants to see him in the garage. But with Peter this season in the chase, it's way too consistent. His average finish in the chase is 4th. In the trucks, it is not much worse. So Peter has been almost an unstoppable force as Stephen Wallace Jr. straight into the outside wall. Really screwed the pooch on that 65, and that is some heavy damage to that car. So these guys are really running. Seems like they're getting very tight in the corners here at Charlotte, especially in 1 and 2, but a little bit off the exit of 3 and 4. So a lot of hard racing here and a lot of guys just trying to figure out how they're running this track. You see Butcher way up the track back there. Had to chase that 83 up the track. And as we were saying with Onjak, his car, bad fast. His chase, bad fast. I don't think anyone deserves the Cup Championship or the Truck Championship more than how strong Onjak has come in the last few races. But that also goes to show maybe a flaw with the chase system. You had Burkhart and Jefferson dominating this season. They were so good. And Jay hasn't fallen off that badly. He just hasn't finished ahead of Peter as often because Peter's always up front. But that shows a flaw that you can run maybe, let's say it's a mediocre regular season. He was still inside the top 5 at the end of the regular season standings. But he was not dominating races. He was not winning races until the chase came about, and that's when he started. So maybe that's a flaw that you can just have a normal or average regular season, make the chase, and then just go off, pop off like this 44 team has. But that's not to say Peter hasn't been strong all season. He hasn't been a contender all season. He had 2 wins coming into the regular season. He has none in the Truck Series, but he was second in the regular season standings. And if you're looking at the full season standings, which the NSDCA posts after every event, those are if they took the Mountain Dew Custom Series full season format, how that has been the whole career. Peter Onjak has been up top in the Truck Series point standings the whole season, and in the Cup Series he's been up front as well. So it's not saying that Onjak does not deserve the championship just because he went off in the chase. He's been a strong contender all season, just like Jay Jefferson here in this 48. Jay right now in that 9th position. He's slowly gaining, but man, he just needs to get going because he needs to pull away from Peter Onjak. Of course, this Charlotte's sponsored by Lowe's here all over the wall. We're seeing if JJ can actually get himself into victory lane here in the Lowe's colors. Loves driving it here in the Charlotte Speedway. Back up front, it's Neil Yepes Burkhardt as Yepes is going to go for the race lead. We'll take a look at this before we head to commercial break. Yepes out in front if he can. Yes, he will. So Diego doing exactly what he needs to make the championship. But Peter's 13th. I think that's just going to be too little too late. He has to have 16 points on Peter. I don't think that'd be enough without a dominant performance here. Diego Yepes has taken the race lead away from Neil. Neil battling Burkhardt for second. The field starting to spread out. Some incidents already that we'll have to cover. But Diego Yepes out in front. 20 laps into this one, a quarter of the way through the Cheerwine 500 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back live at the Cheerwine 500, Jay Jefferson going after DJ Curtis, and you see why. Just a couple cars back is that bright yellow Peter Onjak, Menard's number 44. If Jay gains 3 points, he'd be about 9 points back right now. Entered this race 13 points behind, so that'd actually be 10 points back, but that is better than anything losing. So he and Morris doing what they need to do. They're running up front. They're staying ahead. Caution is out on the racetrack. I saw the yellow lights flash on the pace car. Okay, maybe not. There is no caution on the track. I was hallucinating there, but we are back live here at Charlotte, and we're catching up into the pit strategy, the pit window here. 24 laps in. Fuel window's roughly about 30 laps. So right now you got these guys up front all fighting each other, but we'll see when they do indeed come down pit road. Yepes Burkhardt pulling away. Morris clear into third. Never mind, as Neil shoots up to the outside. We'll see if Morris can clear into third. That he will. There's Friesen there up into fourth. Neil back to fifth. Bowers sixth. Jefferson seventh. So Jay still running away with this thing. Still staying up in front. He and Morris gaining a lot of time on Onjak. But the thing is, Peter and Onjato's pit crew for this 44 team has been pretty strong this season. They've had a lot of chances and made up a lot of ground on pit road. So we'll see if they can indeed do that. Get out of this SBR and monster sandwich that they're in, and maybe get up into that front pack and battle with those leader contenders for the race lead. John Dilk's still running very well. He qualified 8th. He's fallen back to 15th, which is not good. But for Johnson Performance, still a top 20 run, especially with no sponsors on the car to end this season off. Same with Cody Goforth. We've got a lot of unsponsored cars this season. Matty Porta as well in the 20, Joseph Strigley in the 63. And that's a surprising thing for Strigley, who's been running up front. He's 24th right now, but he's had some shining potential this season. Of course, at the track that looks most like this, Atlanta, he led laps by staying out, ran an alternate strategy, almost won the race, same as he would have won Pensacola. So I'm surprised there was no sponsors out there to pick up that team. And then Max Anderson in the 75. We barely even knew they were entering this field before this race started, so that is no shock that they have no sponsorship, but Max Anderson might just be funding that ride himself. Flyby as we go down the front straightaway. Yepes in front, Burkhardt second, Morris clear into third. Friesen, Bowers, Jefferson are your top 6. Onjak has cleared them into the 10th position. The rest of the field going on around. There's Larry Hagan there, Matty Porta, Cody Goforth. Goforth and Hagan not running where they need to be to gain. They'd have to gain about 30 points on Peter, so that's Peter finishing outside of the top 20. And Peter's right now in the 10th position and gaining, so I don't think that's going to happen there for them. Diego Yepes out in front, though, 28 laps in, as he's being chased back down by Burkhardt. Diego's doing what he needs, and he needs 16 points at least to possibly have a chance, but that's only if we have 36 or more entries at Kansas. He's right now leading over Onjak by 10 spots, which I think is only maybe 14 points. So Diego's doing what he needs to do, but again, for the 77, the 99, the 27, and the 21, they need Onjak to have a very poor finish. This would have to be his bad race of the season. So I looked at the back there. A couple cars ducking down pit road. Tip Foster, Jacob Edson are the first takers on lap 30. John Dilks is coming in as well. Nicky Morris and Vince Freeze also coming in. Austin Johnson, who was in an incident earlier, he's going to probably come down, repair damage to the 95. So Diego was up top. Diego went top to bottom there. But I didn't even realize that these two right here are the ones fighting Onjak pretty much for those points back. It looks like everyone's coming in at the end of 30, so on to lap 31, except Cloud. Cloud's going to stay out. It looked like he might have just missed pit road there. But no, Cloud's going to stay out. I think he'll pick up a bonus point. Hagan stays out. Porta stays out. One more car stayed out. That is I believe that's the 30. So Scott Roush in the 30 this week stays out. Max Anderson already came in. Some contact on pit road. Burkhart, I think that's going to cost him. He missed his pit box. He had some issues on pit road. They're going to have to drag him back in. So that's going to cost Burkhart his entire season right there. And it goes up in smoke for the 99 as he gets contact on pit road. We'll have to take a replay of that. Yepes is going to get out first. There's Morris. Freeze and Jefferson side by side. Onjak's right on the back of Jay as they come out. And Burkhart and his championship is pretty much over for that 99 car. He's going to have to recover so much. They're repairing that car now in the 99. Stephen Wallace Jr., they repaired his car. Is Nicky Morris staying out in another lap? No, Nicky came in already. There's Hagan. Hagan's going to not pass Cloud. There's Yepes. So Yepes is your race leader right there. All the way back to his teammate Morris in second. There's Max Anderson, a lap car. Freeze in third. Onjak is up in fourth as he just passes Jefferson. So as we said, Onjak's pit crew strong. Burkhart, contact on pit road. They're still trying to fix that car. Just having a disastrous pit stop there. And now they got to see what's under the hood. And now the 99 team, his hopes are done. That is the end of the championship for Burkhart with contact on pit road. I don't know who it was from. We're going to replay that. Stephen Wallace Jr., they repaired that 65, so that's why he is now a lap down. Max Anderson's multiple laps down there. But Onjak in fourth. Not what the drivers wanted to see. The fans are loving it. Chicago's loving this season so far as they're looking to possibly sweep for Onjato the MDCS Crown Royal Truck Series and Sundrop Cup Series championships as well. Onjak could go from 1 championship to 3 and have one in every series of National Series competition. So Peter, very, very strong this year. Now down the front straightaway, he's working on freezing for third. Jefferson all over the back of him. Maybe Jay will employ some lap traffic tactics on that 44 as we go. As Max Anderson all the way up the track there, 3 wide, getting by the 75. And that was close for 2 drivers who are fighting for the championship, the 44 and 48. Don't forget Morris up there in second. He has a pretty good margin, but that's only 1 point ahead of Onjak now. And Burkhart's team's still on pit road, I think. I think that's just it for Burkhart. His day's done. His championship's done. I don't think the 99 wants to come back out here at this point because he's not going to finish higher. Even if we have a big crash, he's not going to finish higher than probably 20th. And it's just over. There's no point in continuing for the 99. He's going to be way too many laps down. Carter Friesen now all over the back of Onjak as Jefferson is out in front of him now. That's going to be a point swing in that favor. So even if Jay only gets 1 point, that's 12 spots or 12 points. If he wins Kansas, which we've seen he had the potential to. He had it last season. He's strong at the 1.5ers. You see him in third here. Onjak would need, I believe, probably a top 10 finish to defend Jay in the Kansas Cup race. And now Peter goes right back past him. That's now 14 points between them. So Jay just needs to be near him. There's Burkhart finally coming back out. The 99 is going to be 4 laps down, probably 5 here as Yepes and Morris go by him. So Burkhart livid on the radio. Not happy at all. We're going to replay on your screen soon if we haven't already. And that's going to be the end of Burkhart's championship hopes. SBR's championship blows up in their face. The regular season champ falls to the regular season champ curse. But he'll still try to at least finish this race off for the Juniper Networks and SBR. Disappointed on the radio, though, so we'll see how he'll be into Kansas. Now Jefferson with a big run on Onjak. Once again, this is the battle for that 3rd position, and Jay is not letting Peter go. They're alliance partners this year. Maybe that's why Dodge is so strong, because you got the strongest Dodge team working together, sharing their secrets together. Most of them, anyway. And Onjato and TSR have just gone off the charts in performance. Onjak, consistency, Mr. Consistency. Same with Roger Ray, at least until the chase happened. And then you have him in the Cup Series dominating the season. TSR has 9 wins in the Truck Series and 19 races, looking to go for 10 next week at Kansas in the Truck Series. And Jay still is major contender here. Larry Hagan was a contender in the chase, at least at the beginning, on the tracks that were suited to his driving style. Tim Foster still could be a contender if he can finish ahead of boss Peter Onjak back here. But he and Jefferson are going at it. If these two crash, they got to watch themselves, because if these two end up crashing out, then Morris could have a field day, pull away into the championship. And with how Morris has been in the past and how teams kind of hate him sometimes, a lot of drivers and even our announcer crew hate him for what he did at Kansas a few years ago, that might not be the best of the most popular move in the garage if Jay Jefferson and Peter Onjak end up crashing each other out. But Yepes is doing what he needs to. It's probably not going to be enough without an Onjak mechanical failure as we hit the halfway point in this race. 40 laps into this one, Diego Yepes out to a dominant lead over Brandon Morris in second. Jefferson and Onjak fighting for that third position. Carter Friesen rounding out your top 5. A lot of cars left on track. A lot of tempers overflowing already, and one championship contender definitely out of this one. Diego Yepes continuing to lead at 4 seconds over teammate Brandon Morris. We'll go ahead, take a quick commercial break, bring us back to the action of the Cheerwine 500 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back live here at Charlotte. We're going to go ahead and take you through the field as we're just over the halfway point in the Cheerwine 500. Diego Yepes, currently your race leader, has been out in the race lead for a good margin, and he's continuing to just stretch that gap over Morris lap after lap. The Season 4 Crown Royal Truck Series champion. He is very strong. He's one of the greatest of all time in the NSDCA, but this season has not really gone off like he wanted to. Yepes is 5th in points, 56 back entering this race after a crash at Iowa after he got together with Matthew Eves. 77 team has 3 wins on the season, 11 top 10s, but nothing near Morris's 12 and 15 top 5s, top 10s respectively. Yepes is the king of consistency. He's been very strong on the speedways all season long. He has a ton of laps led, but he only has the 3 wins to show for it this year. Doesn't look like he'll be in the Season 1 fight between Jefferson and Onjak, the rematch there, because he and Butcher were the other two in that Season 1 championship fight. Yepes is doing everything he can today, but it's not going to be enough with Onjak running so well up front. Morris in second really is probably not going to catch Yepes. He's just hoping Jay can finish ahead of Peter. He'll gain a point on Jay and 2 on Peter, which would give him 15 points back. And still, that's a lot of time with how Peter's ran this season. But in the chase, usually every championship contender has a bad race. For Carson Bowers last season, it was Kansas, where he was running 19th mid-pack the whole race and would have lost the title had Jay Jefferson not been passed for the lead by Cloud in the closing stages. But Bowers was able to make a couple spots at the end of that and just barely hang on to the title. Onjak hasn't had his bad chase race yet in the Cup Series. He's finished top 10, I'm pretty sure, in all of them, with an average finish of 4.5, though. Morris trying to keep that going, trying to keep this 55 up in front. He's trying to be there at Kansas to spice up the championship battle. Jay Jefferson working his way past Stephen Wallace Jr. there is the big threat to Peter in both the Cup and Truck Series. I'm pretty sure he's the only one close enough to Onjak to really have a fight heading into Kansas in the truck race. Though there are more championship contenders in the Truck Series, Jay is the main one in the Cup Series as well. He and Morris both have been this whole chase run. He has just 1 win in the chase. That was Mosport earlier this season. No, 2 wins in the chase, sorry, because he's just coming off his Iowa victory last week at Iowa. But he has won Iowa and Mosport. More races same amount of races in the chase as Onjak has won. But he is just not having as good of luck as Onjak has. He can run top 10. He can run up front, but his car fades at the end of the races. And that's really what cost him big time. Especially, though, he could have had his 3rd win of the chase at Iowa if he won Talladega, where he was having such a good run there in that 48 car. Peter Onjak has just made the spot for 3rd, and what can we say about the greatest driver this season in the NSDCA? He's ran decently in the Mountain Dew Custom Series starts, but he has dominated the Trucks and Cup Series. No wins in Truck, but 4 in the Cup Series, and continuing his march on as they are now catching the 55 of Morris with help from Burkhart's fresher tires in that draft. But Onjak in 3rd, He knows where he has to finish, ahead of the 48 and 55. He does not want Kansas to be a close title fight. He wants to go in and take his Cup Series title. Anjado has not won the championship in every inaugural season. It was Blake Maurice who won the inaugural Crown Royal Truck Series title. But they did win. Onjak did win the first season of the NSDCA in the Mountain Dew Custom Series. We'll see if he can match that history this season here in the inaugural season of the SDCS. Carter Friesen in 5th is out of the championship fight. 113 points back, tied with Dusty Neal. They're 43 points back from the guys that are trying to make the Kansas finale, those being Larry Hagan and Cody Goforth. Friesen has had an abysmal chase. Monster Motorsports entirely has had an abysmal chase. They lost Lane and Curtis at Kansas from their almost guaranteed chase spots. Curtis got outpointed by 2 points and ended up not making it, and Lane just had a horrible last stretch, was not able to close the gap to Hagan, and took his L, finished 21st in the regular season standings. So Friesen in 5th, just running as good as they can. Not doing too much, though. Hasn't been a threat since Atlanta this season. Just riding it out, trying to finish this season out for Monster Motorsports. Jacob Edson in 6th. This guy has just shown up randomly half the season and just kind of shows up and runs well. Other times, he just runs very, very poorly. That's the problem for SBR. They have no consistency outside of the 99, but in the chase, the 99's been consistently bad. Outside of Talladega, of course. But Edson, he is the restrictor plate master. He's a Las Vegas master, too. 2 wins in the truck and Mountain Dew Custom Series events at Las Vegas. Was hoping it'd be on the schedule this season so he could go and take that sweep of Vegas. Right now, this 82 team running 6th. Not having a bad day. Good to see Edson up in front. Tip Foster in 7th. Not having a bad day at all, but Onjak has been unstoppable. He needs to finish ahead of Peter in the championship in this race to have a shot at Kansas. And it does not look like he's going to. He's 7th, which again, great run. Fantastic run for many drivers, but just at Charlotte, just entering 37 points back, you can only afford maybe 1 or 2 points lost to Onjak. It's not really happening today as Peter has passed Morris for that 2nd position. DJ Curtis just made the move for 7th on Foster, but Curtis had a great run, and he's been one of the dominant drivers in the chase. He and Carson Bowers both have. They should have been in here over the likes of Carter Friesen and Matty Porta. Even Austin Murray has had a very poor chase as well. But Curtis, heartbreaking to see he's still winless, but he is coming back to Monster Motorsports next season in that number 5 car. Colton Lane in 9th could have been in the chase with a wild card spot. He's running decently, but just has not had the season and stats to show for it. Outside of his 1 win at Road America, which was already kind of a gimme there with all the fuel strategy and the crashes we saw at Road America. Not running too well today, or not running too well this season, but a top 10 today is doing very well for him as he gets right up to the back and shoves Foster out of the way. I don't think Tibbs going to be happy about that, as now the 05 moves himself into the 8th position. We'll give Dusty Neal the credit for that 10th spot. He's running very well. Today, he's just happy to be running still in this race after his engine failures at Talladega and Iowa took him out very early, cost him his title hopes. Cloud Foster Racing Operations looking to bring Neal back next season. He's a 1-win wonder so far in the NSDCA, but he's had the speed and he's had the pace to contend for more, just does not have the equipment and does not have the consistency at the end of the day to keep himself up in front. Butcher, Cloud, Gibson. No, Gibson's a lap down, so Goforth, DeLello, and Porta, your top 15. Hagan, Bowers, then Eves, Kukulon, and John Dilks, the one who got into Burkhart, your top 20. Then it's Strigley, Roush, Spurleytube, your top 23. As the lappers now, man, Yepes just worked his way past a bunch of lappers there. Murray is one of them. Downey, who was having a great day at Iowa, don't know what happened to GDI now. Nicky Morris, the 36 of Disparito, and the 42 of Freeze, all behind them as Onjak's clear into 2nd. And we're coming up on 20 laps to go in this event, meaning 30 laps was the fuel window. We're back into 30 laps from pitting, so we'll see if anyone's going to be coming on down this time. Yepes 6.1 seconds ahead of the field as he worked his way. That was even battling lap traffic. All those guys have had to deal with is Brady Burkhart, and he's running about a second quicker than everyone else in this grid. But Onjak's up in 2nd now, ahead of his 2 championship rivals, Morris and Jefferson. I really can't say much else. Onjak is going to win this title this year if Kansas does go his way. Yepes coming on down. Onjak's going to stay out and get a bonus point as Jefferson stays out too. He's going to match Peter there. Morris is in, though, with Freeze. Edson's coming in the 82. Tib Foster's in the 40. DeLello's coming on in. Austin Johnson, Matthew Eves are coming in. Strigley looks like he's in. Dilks might be in. So now your new race leader's on, Jack. He's going to pick up a bonus point, so that's even going to hurt Jefferson and Morris more. And it's only going to cost him 1 lap off of the fuel run. So no, he's staying out more. Onjak's staying out more. Peter's going to try to outlast this one. Jay's not going to be able to. He comes in now. Friesen is in. Curtis is in. Lane is in. Cloud's coming in. Neil's coming in. Butcher's coming in. Porta and Hagen stay out. So Onjak on an alternate strategy altogether. Yepes gets in and out with no issues. Hopefully no one else has an issue. But there's Diego in that 77. He's going to be all out in front. And there's no way you can gain 7 seconds on Yepes on a pit stop. His pit crew's been dominant all his career. You remember in Road America, they got him down pit road when he was blowing up, but he still won the race. But Yepes is out in front. There's Porta now. Or not yet. Yepes is not out in front. Onjak's in. So there's Peter on his pit box. We'll watch him here as they go to work on the 44. There goes Morris by. So yeah, those guys are all a lap down currently. So Peter's on his way out. He's going to work his way past Hagen. All real close between Hagen and Porta and Onjak there. So let's go back up to Yepes. So Morris is ahead. Now Jay had a horrible pit stop. He loses time to Friesen and Foster. So as we said, the 48's fast. He just does not have the pace at the end of these races. Where is Yepes? There's Yepes in the 77. Onjak's just coming off a pit road now. So Yepes is gone. Yepes is clear to set sail. And Onjak's going to be in the midst of lap traffic. And you see all the way back there is Morris now in 3rd. So Onjak's got 2nd locked up. Friesen is now 4th. Foster 5th. Jefferson back to 6th in the 48 car. Curtis 7th. Lane 8th. Edson 9th. Cloud is up to 10th. Burkhart's on old tires still. So Burkhart and Anderson still have to pit. But there's Yepes. And he is absolutely gone. 7 seconds now over Onjak. 9 over Morris. 11 over Friesen. So as this race goes on, it's been a long one. He's going to work his way past Bowers. Some contact up in front as Kukulon moves Max Anderson out of the way. And Anderson's going to be driving that 12 next season for Kukulon, who owns the team. So Sebi, maybe that'll change his mind and let him wise up to the Max Anderson driver. Anderson has ran very well this season, though. Let's give him that. He's just not running good because it's Tony Zhang Motorsports equipment. Yepes is not going to be able to get around Bowers too easily. Bowers is holding him up. So that's 17th going a lap down now. So you just see the pace that Yepes has. Looking for his 4th win, but again, it's just not going to be enough because the guy in 2nd is Peter Onjak, and he needs Peter to finish outside of the top 20 to get a chance back at it. And with 15 to go, it's going to be probably divine intervention for that 44 to fail. Morris is 3rd. Hagen's a lap down, so Hagen's championship hope is over. And let's just say that Burkhart go 4th, Hagen, and Yepes at this moment, nothing they can do. Onjak's just too good this season. Morris is in 3rd. There's Friesen 4th. Foster 5th. Jefferson 6th, so he's going to lose 4 points on him as they run right now because Peter does have that bonus point. Lane is 6th. Edson 7th. Curtis 8th. Cloud 9th. DeLello 10th. Give Zachary DeLello a shout out. They've been just quietly moving their way through the field, and a good pit stop call gets him out into the 10th position. Ryan Butcher 11th. Dusty Neal 12th. Porta 13th. Eves in 14th is nice to see. Cody Go 4th. 15th is basically what he's been doing all season, just consistently mid-pack. Kukulon 16th, and then Yepes is the final driver right there. He's the first driver on the lead lap. Bowers 1 lap down. Strigley is 18th. Yeah, Strigley is in the 18th position, so a great run today for Strigley. Looking for a top 20 there. But with 12 laps to go next time by, Yepes has absolutely been dominant here at Charlotte, and it looks like that's what it's going to be. He took the lead very early on, opened up to a very large margin, and now he just gets to set sail and drive away with this race victory. The 77 has been bad fast all race. He's been bad fast this season, but just too many issues in the chase to rebound from, and it doesn't look like Yepes is going to make the chase for the championship at Kansas. We're just going to watch, though. There's Onjak. He has a lot of lap traffic ahead of him. He has Murray, Spurley Tube, Dilks, Roush in front of him, so it's not to say that Peter's out of the woods. He'd be out of the woods if he's driving on his own and knew that the car was healthy, but you never know when mechanical failure can happen, and Jay Jefferson's just hoping and praying that something happens to this 44 car. Same with Morris, same with everyone, because Kansas could be just an easy show as he goes 3 wide. I don't know why, as a guy who could win the championship right here with a good finish and could lose it with a bad one, just goes 3 wide on 2 lap cars. Murray and Spurlertube thankfully let him by fairly easily, but Murray's fighting back. But Onjak getting real aggressive there in that 44 car. He runs this race in second. You see Morris a bit further back. There's no way they're going to catch him with as many lappers that are in between them as well. Freeze third is now Jefferson. Burkhart's dropping back with his old tires. Now Jay has caught Tibb. So Jay just wants to pick up any spots he can at this point. Wait, is Tibb a lap down? Tibb Foster's a lap down in the 40 car. I don't know what happened to Tibb, but that's another thing. That's another driver that just has not had a good, has had speed, but just can't close it off. And whatever happened to Tibb, he just does not have the pace at the end of races to get it. So I thought Tibb was fighting up inside the top 5. He is not. So Jay is just all alone in 5th right now, chasing down Friesen. And then Curtis back there in 6th has his teammate Lane all over him. And there's really no battles going on this track. It's just everyone's trying to lap to the end of this race. Strigley's going to lose another spot to Kukul on there, but pretty much Yepes is just trying to back it down and make it to the end of this one. Yepes has been strong today, nothing else to say about it, but it's just going to be too little too late to come out here and win in the chase. 56 points back entering this, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a 3-car race for the championship. Onjak out in front, Jefferson and Morris. Those are your 3 drivers. So Onjak finishing 2nd here, while Morris finishes 3rd. That's a 2-point swing between the 44 and 50. Actually, no, that's a 3-point swing, but with Peter's extra lap led that he led under the pit cycle. So that's a 3-point swing, puts Morris about 20 points back. And then Jay being in the 5th position as Max Anderson pits. Please get down to pit road nicely, Max. But with Jay running in 5th, as Tibb blows up in front of the field. And maybe that's what's been going on with the 40 car. And he is now blowing up down the front straightaway. An engine issue. This, if he stalls on track, this could mean a green-white checkered finish. If he does, he's still carrying a lot of... No, he's slowing down a ton. Now he's down to 78. Oh, no, he's picking up speed. So I think he'll be able to make it back. But Foster's engine explodes at the end. He was already not going to make the chase just by not being first at this point. And that will be the end of the day for Tibb. But as we said with Jay, it was a, 3-point swing we said between Morris and Onjak. So that's going to be a 5-point swing between Onjak and Jefferson. So Jay's going to be 18 back, Morris 20 back, and Onjak leading the charge in this chase. But I don't think Peter wants to see that. 5 laps to go and an Onj Auto engine fails. Now this 44 car, I'd be backing off. I'd be, you got 3 seconds between yourself and Morris plus a bunch of lappers that might not pass you. There's an easy chance you just kind of back it down. Don't over rev that engine because you don't want to blow it up in that 44 car. You're catching Yepes. You caught him by a second, but there's no way you're catching him at the end of this one. There's no way you're going to win this race over him. Cody Goforth now goes a lap down, but Bowers is going to fight for his lap back, looking to be 15th across the line there, and he will be as he clears Yepes. Now Goforth to the inside of Diego. Don't wreck Diego because then Onjak gets more spots for a win. So Diego running away with this thing. Onjak's closing in, but still 4 seconds and 3 laps would mean Diego would have to have more of an issue than lap traffic. And that 44 would possibly just be illegal. Morris is 3rd. Friesen 4th. Jefferson, nowhere to be seen. He's way too far back to catch Friesen. So Jay's going to take home 5th if he finishes there. Curtis and Lane are catching him, though. 3 laps to go here at Charlotte, and a bit of an uncharacteristic race. It's been green flag the whole way. Probably a bit of a snoozer, to be fair, but we've had some decent strategy. We had some issues on pit road. Most likely, Foster had an issue on pit road, but so did Burkhart. Now 2 laps to go for the 70-70 Yepes. BGM looking for a 1st and 3rd. Still trying to make the title hunt. Onjak 4.15 back last time, and he opens up to 5/10, so it must have been just Bowers, fighting Diego. So Diego back into the rhythm. You see Eves and Bowers just ahead of him. That's 14th and 15th there. Coming around to the white flag. If the white flag flies, this race will be official right here. So Yepes in that 77 trying to hang on out in front. The white flag is in the air. The Cheerwine 500 at Charlotte. White flag for Diego Yepes. We have 1 lap to go at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Onjak second, Morris third, Friesen fourth, Jefferson fifth. Most likely how it's going to finish. As now the 77 of Yepes rounds off a turn number 2 down the back straightaway. An absolutely dominant performance, but it's not going to matter with an Onjak second. Jefferson, Morris, and Onjak will be the 3 fighting for the title at Kansas, but Yepes will at least be able to get a walk-off win. The last time we were at Charlotte, he won. Diego Yepes takes home the victory at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we're going to wait a little bit. There's Onjak in second, and then it's a long way back now to the 55 of Morris, who's third. Carter Friesen, they come home fourth, and Jay Jefferson closing in at the end on Friesen, but he will come home in the 5th position. Dominant showing by Yepes grabs him his 4th win of the season, and the big 3 of the NSDCA, Onjak, Yepes, and Jefferson, the kings of the last few seasons in the NSDCA, come home 4 wins on the year. So the best that they can do is a Jefferson, Onjak, or Yepes win, tying Colton Lane's all-time record of 5 in the Mountain Dew Custom Series. No one can get 6 this year. But an absolutely dominant performance by Yepes led the majority of the race after making a move early on. Jefferson, as we said, the 48 car just fades a bit at the end. It might be the pit crew, too. He's been struggling with some pit crew issues this year for TSR. Actually, the Dodge teams have been having pit crew issues. See Burkhardt pull into his pit box. He's fuming. Just upset. But let's be real here. There's nothing Brady could have done. Anyway, Onjak second. Would not have gotten Brady into the chase no matter what. So that knocks Hagan, Goforth, Burkhardt, and Yepes out of the championship. Yepes will definitely probably have 5th locked up. Burkhardt's going to lose a lot of time. Goforth and Hagan didn't have good finishes either. Yepes is 5th in points. Foster actually will be 5th in points. Yepes will be 4th. And then as we said, it's going to be about an 18-point gap between Jefferson and Onjak. 20 points back to Morris. Still 1 race to go at Kansas. We're sure to have an exciting one out there at one of the best finale tracks we've ever had, even though we've only had 2. But Kansas has always put on a show for the finale in the last few seasons of the NSDCA. We're sure to be treated to an exciting one. A dominant day for Yepes, capped off with a victory. His second at Charlotte, 1 in trucks, 1 in cup. A 1.5-mile ace, a speedway ace in that 77, being chased down by the dominant driver of the season, Peter Onjak, and his competitors Morris and Jefferson rounding out the top 5 with a little Carter Friesen cameo in the middle. We head out to Kansas for the Mountain Dew Custom Series, Crown Royal Truck Series, and Sundrop Cup Series finales. Thank you guys so much for watching the NSDCA. We'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.